Welcome to Soft Computing Module 1 Video Session 2. In the last lecture, we discussed about what is soft computing and why we need soft computing methodologies and different applications of soft computing, right? So soft computing is collection of methodologies in order to deal with soft problems. Soft problems means problems which are uncertain or imprecise in nature can be called as soft problems, and soft computing is collection of methodologies in order to solve such problems. So there are different type of soft computing methodologies and we have to use those in order to find a solution to soft problems. And examples are artificial neural network, fuzzy logic, genetic algorithm, etc. So in soft computing subject, we will be dealing with all of these. So in the first two modules, we will be dealing with artificial neural network, and then the next three modules are dealing with fuzzy logic, and the last one is all about genetic algorithm. So first module, we are going to discuss about artificial neural network. Okay, so let me tell you what is artificial neural network and what is the inspiration behind such an idea. Okay, so we know that machines are having IQ level 0 and they can't do anything on their own. That is, human intervention is always needed in order to do or in order to perform a task. But you know, we have developed so many systems or artificial intelligence and robotics. We are in that era, and we know that machines are capable of taking decisions on their own. And the basic idea behind this is artificial intelligence, and artificial neural network is the basic component which helps to induce artificial intelligence to the systems. So we need to know what is artificial neural network. Actually, artificial neural network is something which is inspired by or which is actually mimicking human brain capabilities or ability to learn. Okay, so an artificial neural network may be defined as an information processing model that is actually inspired by the way biological nervous systems such as a brain process information. This model tries to replicate only the most basic functions of brain. We know that in human brain, there are like 100 billions of neurons and their interconnections, and they're working together in order to do this reasoning and all. Okay, so how that is happening? That is the basic idea behind artificial neural network systems. So the way human brain works, actually we are going to mimic the same and we are going to develop such a system. But we know that human brain is much complicated. We can't actually construct or build such as a exact replica of the system. But what we can do is we can develop some systems which can be applied for particular applications. Okay, so artificial neural networks are those which are inspired by this human brain working or the capability or ability to learn things or reasoning things, and that is what artificial neural network is. So there are actually information processing systems which are constructed and implemented to model human brain and which can perform various computational tasks like application based or they can be developed for specific applications like pattern matching, classification, optimization, approximation, many different applications. For different applications we can develop such neural networks, and actually it resembles in characteristic with biological neural network, and it poses a large number of highly interconnected processing elements called nodes, units or neurons. which usually operate in parallel and are configured in regular architecture. So we know that in biological neuron, we call that processing element as a neuron. In the case of artificial neural network, we can call those processing elements as nodes, units, or neurons. So similar to the biological neural network, we are mimicking or we are actually replicating the same thing, and we are going to develop a neural network which is artificial neural network and which can take decisions or which can do the reasoning. Okay. So before getting into ANN, we need to know how biological neurons works, right? So this is the architecture, or this is the basic structure of a biological neuron. Human brain consists of a large number of neurons with numerous interconnections, right? And it is having different parts like dendrites, axons, synapse, synaptic lobes, etc. You might have already studied all those things in plus 2 classes, right? See, it is having the cell body. This is a cell body. It is having a nucleus inside. The dendrites is there, axon is there. Okay, so dendrites, these are the tree-like structures or networks made of nerve fiber connected to this cell body. Okay, and an axon is a single long connection extending from cell body and carrying signals away from the neuron. At the end of axon, it splits into fine strands, and it is found that each strand terminates into a small bulb-like structure here. Okay, and it is called as a synapse. So it is through the synapse that neuron introduces its signal to nearby neurons, and electric impulses are passed between the synapse and dendrites of the other neurons. Okay. So this type of signal transmission involves a chemical process in which a specific transmitter substances are released from the sending side of junction, and actually this will result, see here in this picture it is more clear, from one neuron the signal is transmitted, and here a knob-like structure, bulb-like structure, we can see a synapse. So when one neuron transmits or passes a signal from one neuron to another neuron, what will happen there? A chemical process is happening there in which a specific transmitter substances are released from the sending side of the junction, and this will result in increase or decrease in the electric potential inside the body of the receiving receiving cells. Okay. So while passing signals, a chemical change will happen at the sending side, and accordingly electric potential is generated at the receiving side. Okay, and this is whether it is in an increasing or decreasing order, that will be different. That will be according to the potential generated. So if the electric potential reaches a threshold, then at the receiving cell that will fire, and a pulse or action potential of a fixed strength and duration is sent out through the axon to the synaptic junctions of the other cells. So it will pass that signal. If the electric potential generated at the receiving side is up to the threshold value, or if it is up to the threshold value, or if it is crossing that threshold value, then the next neuron will fire. Okay, so this is what happening in a biological neuron. So after firing, a cell has to wait for a period of time called a refractory period before it can fire again. So the synapses are said to be, we know that we have seen that there can be an increase or decrease in signal, right? So a synapse is said to be excitatory if they let passing impulses cause the firing of receiving cell, and the synapse is called inhibitory if they let passing impulses hinder the firing of the receiving cell. Okay, so this is what happening in the case of a biological neuron. So we are going to mimic all these processes, and we are going to build an artificial neural network. Okay, So that's all about working of a biological neuron. Thank you all.